Assalamualaikum and have a good day to all of you. Today, I would like to present my group final project presentation. It is about house rental management system. Okay, as we can see now on the screen, is a table of content for our presentation today. First, is about the introduction, where we want to show to all of you about the company background and their organizational chart. Next is a system overview, where we want to show about the problem statement, the project mission and vision, and the objective of this project. Next, we show to you the ERD diagram, relational schema, and data dictionary. After that, we share to all of you the system user interface and the dashboard. Next, we want to present to all of you the question and queries from the proposed system. And last but not least, we will present the system demo. Okay, we go to the introduction. Firstly, it's about the company background. The company name is GS Relational Schema. It's one of company provide real estate service. The company was established in 2010. This company is one of the most companies that provide home sale services, home ownership advice, and managing a home rental. Next is about the company detail. As we can see now, is a GS Realty Samrahat is a company name. They are located at Fraser Business Park, Kuala Lumpur. The company vision is to continue to be the property management company of choice, providing full service and care to our client, properties, and to our team members, and by setting the standard in the multi-family housing, property management, and development industries. The company mission is to set the standard of high performance and manage residential and commercial properties for the success of our client while ensuring all our residents have the best quality, most comforting and affordable living experience possible. The company goal is the key to our growth and prosperity is a direct result of our exceptional management team, and together we strive for excellence and to ensure the success of our client. The company services is provide to manage the house rental, and they are also manage the tenant, house, and the owner. Next, we go to organizational chart of the company. The owner of the company is Mr. Jacob Chia. Next is Mr. Arumugan Paliasami as a sales manager. Mr. Ahok Kian and Mr. Ahmad Tamizi is a sales executive. Ms. Mastura Abu Hassan is a finance executive, and Ms. Mariam Badri is an admin clerk. The company also have a temporary staff. Next, we go to the system overview. Firstly, we want to show to you about the problem statement. As we can see now, is about the problem statement. Firstly, they are using the paper to record all the data and the information, where they are very difficult to them to keep and find all the document and the data. They also have a problem loss of a document when all the documents are kept on the paper. There are also many houses to manage, which is very difficult to them to manage without the proper system. They are also manage many owner and a tenant. Okay, now we go to the project mission and vision. This project mission is to introduce a new method for the staff, or also known as agent, living under GS Relative Berhad to handle rented house owned by the company in Malaysia. The project vision is managing the rental house can be easy, organized, and data accurate if there is system to manage it. Okay, next, we go to the objective of this project. Firstly, we want to make sure all the data is secure, accurate, and decrease data inconsistency. Next, we want to make the data easier to access and manage. And also, we want to make sure user can get the data quickly and reliable. Next, we want to show to all of you about the diagram, schema, and data dictionary. Okay, as we can see now on the screen is a ERD diagram for the house rental management system. We are proposed X table for the system. First is a rental table, tenant table, house table, staff table, owner table, type table, tenant out table, and tenant in table. Okay, we go now to the rental table. Rental table have a rental ID as a primary key, tenant code, house code, and staff code as a foreign key. In a tenant table, have a tenant code as a primary key. In a house table, have a house code as a primary key and owner code and tab ID as a foreign key. Okay, we go now to the staff table. Have a staff code as a primary key. In the owner table, have a owner code as a primary key and house code as a foreign key. Okay, now to the type table, have a type ID as a primary key. Next is a tenant out table, have a out ID as a primary key and tenant code and rental ID as a foreign key. Okay, last but not least is a tenant in table, have a in ID as a primary key and tenant code and rental ID as a foreign key. Okay, that's all about the ERD diagram. Okay, next I will pass to my friend, Mr. Arif, to continue this presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so now I will present the relational schema. So this is the third normal form. We got rental. In the rental entity, we got the tenant code, house code, start date, end date, staff code, rental, staff name, and so on. And then we also got another entity, which is the tenant, house owner, staff, type, tenant in, tenant out. And for every entity, they got their own primary key and foreign key. Okay, so next, for creating our table, we use this script. So to create the table tenant, the script is create table tenant, tenant code, varchar, tenant not now, tenant first name, tenant last name, tenant gender, tenant phone number, and we set the tenant code as the primary key. And for table house, the script is quite the same, quite similar to tenant table, where we use create table script. And then for data dictionary, so for rental, for the entity name rental, we got the rental ID, tenant code, house code, start date, end date, staff code, and rent. So here you can see the data type of all these attributes. and the format, and the required, which is not null. So for rental ID, it is required. Tenant code, it is required, and for the rest, it is not required. So you can have a blank space in the attributes. And then we also got the primary key or foreign key for each of the attributes name. For example, rental ID is the primary key. And lastly, we have the foreign key reference table, which is if the attributes is a foreign key. So foreign key reference table is the tenant. So tenant code is the primary key in the tenant entity, but in this rental entity, in this rental table, this attribute is a foreign key. And same goes to the house code and staff code. You can see that house code is the primary key in house, and staff code is the primary key in staff. So next, just like before, for this entity, which is the house, so this entity actually record house detail for being rent. So there's a few attributes in this entity, which is the house code, house address, type ID, and owner code. And here you can also see the data type, format, and required. So for the house code, it is required. So no blank values will be possible in these attributes. So it must have a data in here. And for the rest, house address and type ID can be null value, but for the owner code, it will be the same like the house code. Must have a values inside these attributes. And house code, just like I said in the previous slide, house code is the primary key in the house entity. So you can see it here, the PK or FK. So house code is the primary key, and the other two foreign key is the type ID and owner code. For the type ID, it is actually the primary key in the type entity or table, and the owner code is the primary key in the owner table. But here in this house entity, both the type ID and owner code is the foreign key. So next, this is the type entity. So the type ID is the foreign key and the type name. So in this entity, we have only two attributes, which is the type ID and the type name. So next, in the owner table, so we got owner code, owner first name, owner last name, owner IC, owner gender, address, and house code. If you see the house code, it is a foreign key, and foreign key reference table is house, meaning that house code is the primary key in the house table, just like I mentioned before. So in this table, in this owner table, the owner code is the primary key, and it must have a value. So not now. For the owner first name and last name can be null values, but for owner IC cannot be null value. And owner IC is also the primary key. Next, we have the staff table, where we got the attributes as follows: staff code, staff first name, staff last name, staff gender, staff address, and staff designation. So the staff designation is the rank of the staff. And here you can see, as usual, the data type and the format. For the staff gender, the format will be male and female only. And for staff designation, for the rank of the staff, the format is, for example, clerk and manager. And for the primary key in this table, we got the staff first name and staff address. And for staff code, it is actually the foreign key, and the foreign key reference table will be the rental table. Next, we got the tenant table. So the attributes are tenant code, tenant last name, tenant first name, tenant gender, and tenant phone. So tenant code is the foreign key reference to the rental table. And here you can see the required value for these attributes. So the tenant code must have a value for the attribute tenants code. There must be a value. Tenant last name and first name not require a value, and for the tenant gender, it will require a values. Cannot be now. Next, we got the tenant in table. So we got the in ID, the tenant code, the command, date, register, and rental ID. So here the primary key is the in ID, and tenant code and rental ID is the foreign key, which the attributes are referencing to the rental table. So this tenant in table is actually the for the table for when a tenant wants to move in into the house. So next we got the tenant out table. For the tenant out table, it is quite similar like the tenant in. Um, the only one that difference is the out ID. Last slide we got the in ID. For this table we got the out ID, and then tenant code, comment, date register, and the rental ID. So the primary key here is the out ID, and we got two foreign key here, which is the tenant code and rental ID, which is both referencing to the rental table. So now I will pass to my friends to explain the rest of the slide. Thank you very much.
Hello guys, my name is Nashmi. So I will continue our team presentation with title system, interface and dashboard. So as you can see here, this figure below shows the user interface for home page. So we have house, tenant, owner, and staff. The next one, we have house type page. So for the house type page, we have three columns. So the first one, the first data is type ID, type name, and type details. Right. Next is house report page. For the house report page, we have four columns. For data, the first one is house code, home address, type ID, and rent price. Next one is owner page. For the owner page, we have 7 columns. So the first column is owner code, and then we put owner first name, owner last name, owner identification card, owner gender, and then owner address and house code. All right. The next one is tenant page. For the tenant page, we have 5 columns. The first one is tenant code, tenant first name, tenant last name, and tenant gender. And the lastly is tenant phone number. Right. For the rental page section, we have 5 columns, and we have the first one is rental ID, tenant code, house code, staff code, and data date of registration. So for the tenant in this section, we have a ID, and then we have a tenant code and comments, and then payment and the total price in RM. For tenant out page also we have 6 columns. The first one is ID and tenant code, comment, rental ID, payment, and the total the price. All right. For the staff page section, we have the first one we have a staff code, staff first name, staff last name, staff gender, staff address, staff designation, and salary. So here, as you can see, this is show the amount paid by the tenant using which payment type. So we divided by two types for payment method. The first one is online transfer, and the second one is cash, right? So the second one, for the tenant registered into rental house by date. So this is our dashboard number 2, all right? So dashboard number 3 is total of house by type. So we divide type of house in four types. So we have condo, apartment, townhouse, and terrace. All right. The next one is company profit graph of staff and total of staff salary. Right. For the first one, the total company profit, we also divide by two payment type, which is the online transfer and cash. And then we have staff database, which is temporary staff, manager, clerk, and executive by their designation. All right. Third one is total of staff salary. We divide by designation, temporary staff, executive, clerk, and manager. So next one is question enquiry. So the question number 1, the owner needs a report to display list of tenants in date of 1 June 2021, the day of the week on which the record generate with the column label as day. So the below is the query for the question 1. So this output for the question 1. We have ID, and the second one is that date of registration and the day. So the question number 2, create query to display record tenant in payment type, total payment, device, payment pay amount, which will show increase in the payment amount if payment made via on transfer, but show no changes if the payment is made by cash. Right. So the below is our query. So this is the output. So we have ID, a payment, the total price, and the revised bill amount. Right. The question number 3, the owner wants to know how many deposit they earn by cash and online transfer. So below is our query for the question number 3. So the output, this output, the output is the first one is total payment using cash and the total payment using online transfer. So this divided by payment method. Right. The question number 4. The owner needs a query of employee who earn salary more than 2,000 per month and we arrange their employee number increasing. So the below is our query. So the output we have divided by 2. So staff code and then the salary of staff lah. The question number 4. The owner needs a query of staff details include name, designation, and salary detail of all staff. So below is our query for question number 4. So the output, we have a staff first name, staff designation, and the salary of staff. Right. For the next presentation, we'll continue by Zafhan. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I will present about our system demo right now. Okay, I will share screen. Okay, this is our login page. Proceed. Okay, this is our front page about all report about our house. You can see I will go for the demo about how this system work. Firstly, we add a house. Okay, 13 UITM UITM Perak, something like that. Type ID is apartment, rent about 200. Okay, added. If you can see here, is a type ID is referred to house type. Okay, if you change anything here, will be impact on the house record too. So I will test one for house. We added house after tenants. Apply change, and we go to the house again. You can see tenant house change. Okay, so we go for the next record about tenant. Okay, tenant here, just create one. Code is 01. Name about Zamri. And Ali. Something like that. See, gender, male, address, something like that. Okay, we manage about UI Tempera. Okay. Next, we add a tenant. Okay, we straightforward to the add tenants. Code. M is 12, tenant name, AA, something like that. Last name, A, B, okay. Gender, female. Number phone, okay, great. Okay, wait a while. Okay, here is recorded. So we put this all at the renter table 07 tenant code. We take AA, and then it will be rent to the Tempera. Staff person in charge, we said about Chaan, right? Register by today, grade. Okay, rental record has been here. And then we go to the tenant in. Okay, tenant in. We create AA to here. Okay. Tenant code refer to the record before AA. Comment in. Register by today. Payment, let's say using online transfer. Okay. Everything record here will be report to the dashboard number 1. Okay, go to the dashboard number 1. You can see here the all transaction has been recorded and we report at the dashboard number 1. The dashboard number 2 will be show about the report about the debt register in. And dashboard number 3, we show report about the record the house been recorded here. And the rental report, we can print all rental at the one page here, can be print. Okay. You select printer here, you can be print. And then last dashboard is about company profit. Here, you will report here, total staff, how many staff salary here, and how many profit of there. Okay. So that's all our rental house. Okay. And then thank you.